Have you ever felt like there's something about Jesus' teachings that doesn't get talked about enough? That maybe, just maybe, some of the truths he shared were too radical, too shocking, too forbidden for most people to hear? Imagine this, a teacher who walked among ordinary people, yet spoke words that could topple governments, challenge every law, and turn your whole understanding of morality upside down. What if I told you that Jesus said things that would make even the most devoted followers uncomfortable? Things that could completely change the way you live, love, and see the world. By the end of this video, you might start to question everything you thought you knew about faith, and I promise, you won't want to miss a single teaching. Before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss a revelation here on Broken Echoes. The first forbidden teaching, love your enemies. You've probably heard it before, right? Love your enemies. It sounds simple, almost gentle. But pause for a moment and really think about it. Your enemy, the one who hurt you, betrayed you, or caused you pain, Jesus is telling you to love them. This was shocking even in his own time. People believed justice meant revenge, that power meant keeping score, that survival meant defending yourself at all costs. And here comes Jesus, standing in front of a crowd saying, "But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Do you feel that weight? Think about it. How many of us have truly prayed for someone who has wronged us, instead of wishing they face consequences? This teaching isn't just radical, it's revolutionary. It flips the world upside down. Here's what makes it forbidden. Loving your enemies challenges every system built on fear, control, and retaliation. If everyone followed this teaching, the empires of greed, hatred, and power would crumble. That's why it was dangerous. That's why it was almost hidden. And yet, Jesus didn't leave it at words. He showed it in action. He forgave the very people who nailed him to the cross. He loved those who spat on him, mocked him, and betrayed him. He didn't just teach it, he lived it. Ask yourself right now, could I love someone who truly hurt me? Could I forgive the unforgivable? That's the challenge he left for us, a challenge that scares us because it demands everything we think we know about justice and fairness. The second forbidden teaching, the last shall be first. Picture this, crowds pressing around Jesus, everyone hoping to hear a word, a miracle, a promise that their lives would finally turn around. Many of them were poor, broken outcasts. And in the middle of this, Jesus says something that makes no sense to the powerful and the privileged. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Think about that for a second. What does the world teach us? That success is about being first. First in wealth, first in influence, first in recognition. We're told to climb higher, push harder, and compete until we're at the top. But Jesus flips the ladder upside down. This wasn't just hard to hear, it was offensive. Imagine telling a king that the beggar outside his palace might one day stand ahead of him. Imagine telling the rich that their gold would mean nothing in the kingdom of heaven. That's why this teaching was forbidden. It threatened the entire system of power. But here's the secret buried in his words. Jesus was teaching that true greatness isn't measured by what you take, but by what you give. Not by the titles you carry, but by the humility in your heart. And isn't that still hard for us today? Be honest, don't you sometimes feel overlooked, forgotten, or like the world passes you by? Yet Jesus whispers, if you stay faithful, if you stay humble, your place in my kingdom is already secured. So ask yourself, am I chasing to be first in the world, or am I content to be last in the eyes of men, knowing I'm first in the eyes of God? The third forbidden teaching, give without expecting anything back. Imagine this, you lend money to a friend, and deep down you expect them to pay it back. Or you do a favor, and you hope they'll return it someday. That's normal, right? That's how the world works, give and take, reward and return. But Jesus, he didn't play by those rules. He said, give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Let that sink in. Don't expect repayment. Don't keep score. Don't give because of what you'll get. Give because it's who you are. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because if we're honest, we like the idea of generosity, but we still want control. We want security. We want to know that when we give, it won't go to waste. But Jesus strips away that safety net. And that's why this teaching was so forbidden. It undermines economies built on debt and repayment. It breaks apart systems that trap people in endless cycles of owing and being owed. Jesus was introducing a kingdom where love is the only currency, freely given, never measured. Think about it. What if you gave to someone knowing they could never repay you? What if your kindness was a seed planted in soil you may never see grow? Could you still give? This is the radical heart of Jesus' message. Your reward isn't in what you get back from others, it's in what you've already given to God by giving to them. So here's the question for you right now. Am I giving with strings attached? Or am I ready to let go and give the way Jesus gave, completely, freely, with no return required? The fourth forbidden teaching: you cannot serve God and money. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. A crowd gathered, filled with farmers, fishermen, tax collectors, even wealthy men in fine robes, everyone leaning in, hoping Jesus would tell them how to find peace, how to secure their lives, how to succeed. And then he says, "No one can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money." Can you feel the silence that must have fallen over that crowd? For many, wealth wasn't just money. It was security, influence, respect. And here was Jesus telling them, if money owns your heart, God does not. This teaching is forbidden because it cuts right into the root of human desire. Money promises freedom, but Jesus revealed that it also enslaves. Wealth whispers, if you just had a little more, you'd be safe. You'd be happy. But Jesus says, you'll never be satisfied if money is your master. And let's be real, this isn't just about the rich. Haven't you ever worried about bills? About what you'll eat, what you'll wear, how you'll make it? That quiet anxiety, that gnawing fear, that's money trying to rule your heart. But here's the good news. Jesus wasn't condemning money itself. He was freeing us from its chains. He was saying, trust me, not your bank account. Build treasures in heaven, where no thief can steal, no moth can destroy. Let me ask you this. If everything you owned was stripped away today, would you still feel rich in God? Or has money taken a throne it was never meant to have? This is why his words shook the world, because he wasn't just asking people to believe. He was asking them to let go of the very thing they thought they couldn't live without. The fifth forbidden teaching: the kingdom of God is within you. Imagine the shock on people's faces when Jesus said these words. Everyone expected the kingdom of God to come with armies, with a throne, with a ruler who would overthrow Rome. They were waiting for a visible revolution. But Jesus, he quietly declared, the kingdom of God is within you. Do you realize how dangerous that sounded? By saying this, Jesus was tearing down the need for temples made of stone, for priests controlling access, for empires claiming divine authority. He was saying, God's kingdom isn't out there, it's in here, in you. This teaching was forbidden because it shifted the power away from rulers, away from institutions, and placed it in the hands of ordinary people. If the kingdom of God is already alive in you, then no king, no empire, no religious elite can control it. That truth is liberating, but it's also threatening to those in power. Think about it for yourself. We spend so much time looking for fulfillment outside of us, chasing success, approval, belonging. But what if Jesus was telling you that the very presence of God is already alive inside your soul, that you don't have to go searching for him? He's been waiting in you all along. And here's the question I want you to wrestle with. If the kingdom is within me, am I living like a citizen of heaven, or am I still letting the world define who I am? When Jesus said these words, he was setting people free from every chain of fear and control. He was telling them, you carry heaven inside you already. Live like it. The sixth forbidden teaching: blessed are the poor. Picture the scene. Jesus climbs up a hillside, sits down and begins to speak. A hush falls over the crowd, peasants, beggars, fishermen, the broken, the forgotten. And then he says words that must have sounded impossible, almost insulting. Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Wait, blessed? The poor? Think about how upside down that sounded. The world teaches that wealth is blessing, that riches are proof of favor, that power is reward. But Jesus looks at the people with nothing in their hands and says, You are the blessed ones. This was forbidden because it stripped away the illusion that wealth equals worth. It undermined the pride of the rich and gave dignity back to the poor. It was dangerous because it empowered the powerless. If the poor are truly blessed, then earthly systems built on exploitation and greed lose their grip. But notice, Jesus wasn't romanticizing poverty. He wasn't saying suffering is good. He was declaring a spiritual truth. When the world takes everything from you, you are free to receive everything from God. The poor have nothing to cling to but Him, and in that surrender they discover the fullness of His kingdom. So let me ask you, do I measure blessing by what I own, or by who owns me? Because if blessing is about wealth, then only the rich are loved by God. But if blessing is about presence, faith, and dependence, then even in your lowest moment, you are already rich in Him. The seventh forbidden teaching. Turn the other cheek. Imagine this moment. A man is struck on the face. The natural instinct, hit back. Defend yourself. Prove your strength. That's the law of survival, the cycle of retaliation. But Jesus looks at His followers and says something that must have stunned them into silence. If someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn to them the other also. What? Really think about it. He wasn't just talking about passivity or letting people walk over you. He was exposing a secret power, the power of refusing to play by the world's rules. Because here's the truth. Retaliation only feeds the cycle of violence. But choosing not to fight back, choosing to stand with dignity, choosing peace instead of vengeance, breaks that cycle completely. That's what makes this teaching forbidden. It takes away the control of oppressors. If you cannot be provoked into hate, you cannot be enslaved by hate. And Jesus lived it. As soldiers mocked Him, as leaders accused Him, as crowds shouted for His death, He didn't fight back. He bore it. He forgave. And in doing so, He revealed a strength that no sword could conquer. But let's be real, this is hard. Haven't you felt that urge to prove yourself, to get even, to show someone they can't treat you like that? Yet Jesus whispers, true strength is not in striking back. It's in standing unshaken in love. Ask yourself, when I'm wronged, do I escalate the fire, or do I have the courage to extinguish it with peace? This isn't weakness, it's the deepest form of power. The power of a heart the world cannot control. The eighth forbidden teaching, hate your own life. Now this one is truly shocking. One day Jesus turned to the crowd following Him, people excited, people curious, people hoping for miracles, and He said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. At first, those words sound unbearable. Hate your own life. How could the teacher of love say that? But pause. Let's peel back what He really meant. Jesus wasn't commanding bitterness toward your family or self-destruction. He was revealing a radical truth. Your love for God must be so deep, so consuming, that everything else, every attachment, every desire, even your own self, pales in comparison. This teaching was forbidden because it strips away the idol of self-preservation. The human instinct is to cling to life, to protect it at all costs. But Jesus declared, if you cling to your life, you'll lose it. If you surrender your life to me, you'll find it. And think about how threatening that was to rulers and empires. What can you do with people who no longer fear losing their lives? You can't buy them, you can't break them, you can't control them. That's the unstoppable courage Jesus was building in His followers. Let me turn this on you. What am I holding on to so tightly that it keeps me from fully following Him? My comfort, my reputation, my dreams, my very life. Jesus' call isn't to hate in bitterness, but to love Him with such passion that even life itself loses its grip. That's freedom the world cannot take away. The ninth forbidden teaching, take up your cross daily. Think about the cross for a moment. Today we see it on necklaces, in churches, as a symbol of faith. But in Jesus' time, the cross was something far darker. It was a symbol of shame, torture, and execution. It was Rome's way of saying, we own you. We control your life and your death. And yet, Jesus looked at His disciples and said, Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross daily, and follow me. Daily. Not once. Not just at the end of your life. Every single day. This teaching was forbidden because it wasn't a call to comfort. It was a call to surrender. The cross meant death to pride, death to selfishness, death to living for your own will. It meant choosing a life that might look weak to the world, but was overflowing with eternal strength. And here's the hard truth. Many wanted the miracles, the bread, the healing, but not the cross. Because the cross demands everything. But think of the power here. Rome used the cross to break people. Jesus used the cross to set people free. He turned the greatest weapon of fear into the greatest symbol of hope. Now ask yourself honestly, what cross am I carrying daily? Or am I still trying to follow Jesus without ever laying down my pride, my ego, my control? Following him is not about comfort, it's about surrender. And in surrender, you discover a freedom no empire, no system, no fear can ever take away. The 10th forbidden teaching. The first question will be about love. All through his ministry, Jesus broke rules people thought were sacred. He healed on the Sabbath. He touched the untouchable. He dined with sinners. He forgave when others demanded punishment. And at the very heart of it all, he gave a teaching so simple, yet so forbidden, that it still shakes us today. A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. Think about how impossible that sounds. As I have loved you. He loved without conditions. He loved the unworthy. He loved even those who would betray him. He loved to the point of death. This was forbidden because love breaks chains. Love destroys control. Love removes fear. Entire systems, political, religious, economic, depend on division, on hate, on us versus them. But Jesus was commanding something that could unite enemies, heal nations, and dismantle oppression. And here's the most haunting part. At the end of time, when everything else fades, the question won't be about how much you knew, how much you achieved, or how perfectly you lived. The question will be, what did you do with my love? Did you receive it? Did you give it? Did you let it transform you? So ask yourself now, am I truly living in love, or am I letting fear, pride, and resentment choke out the very thing he commanded most? These were the 10 forbidden teachings of Jesus, truths so radical that they threatened rulers, offended the powerful, and even today challenge the deepest parts of our hearts. Love your enemies. The last shall be first. Give without expecting return. You cannot serve God and money. The kingdom is within you. Blessed are the poor. Turn the other cheek. Hate your own life. Take up your cross daily. And above all, love one another. These are not easy words, they are dangerous words. But they are also life-giving words, and if you let them take root in you, they won't just change your life, they'll change the world around you. Before you go, if this message stirred something in you, remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you won't miss the next deep dive here on Broken Echoes.